What can 500,000 naira really do in Nigeria today? A few years ago, that amount felt like a breakthrough. It could start a business, rent an apartment, maybe even change your life trajectory. But today, things feel different. Prices have changed, the naira has weakened, the cost of living has surged, and what used to be a lot of money now barely stretches as far as people expect. In this video, we are going to break it down with no sugarcoating, no hype, and no false promises. We will look at daily survival costs, renting a house, starting a business, investing, and what 500,000 naira actually means in today's Nigeria. By the end, you will see the brutal truths and, more importantly, how to think smarter about money in this economy. Let's start with context. Back then, 500,000 naira was a very serious money. You could rent a decent apartment in many cities, start a small but stable business, buy fairly used equipment or a car, live comfortably for months without stress. But Nigeria today is not Nigeria 5 years ago. Inflation has eaten deep into purchasing power, food prices have skyrocketed, fuel costs have doubled, even tripled in some cases. Transportation, school, fees, rent, everything is up. So the real question is not, is 500,000 naira a lot? The real question is, what can it actually do today? Say you decide to use 500,000 naira just to survive. No investment, no business, just living. So let me break it down for you. Food, 5,000 naira to 10,000 naira per day, depending on lifestyle. Transportation, 1,500 naira to 5,000 naira daily in major cities. Utilities such as electricity, data, and water could take up to 30,000 naira to 80,000 naira monthly. Miscellaneous like health emergencies, airtime, and some unpredictable circumstances. Conservatively, you are looking at about 250,000 naira to 300,000 naira per month just to live modestly. That means 500,000 naira can last you roughly 1 to 3 months, and that's if you are disciplined. No luxury, no big emergencies, no sudden expenses. One hospital visit, one major repair, one unexpected bill, and that money starts disappearing fast. That's the first brutal truth. 500,000 naira is no longer long-term security, it's short-term survival. Now, let's talk about housing. Can 500,000 naira rent you a decent place? Short answer, yes, but with serious limitations. In major cities like Lagos or Abuja, a self-contained apartment can cost up to 400,000 naira to 800,000 naira per year. A one-bedroom flat can go from 600,000 naira to over 1.5 million naira, and that's just rent. You still have to pay agency fees, legal fees, and caution fees. These extras can add 30% to 50% on top of the rent. So 500,000 naira might get you a small self-contained room in a less central area, cover rent alone, but not the extra charges. In smaller cities or rural areas, you might get better value, possibly even a decent one-bedroom apartment. But in high-demand urban areas, 500,000 naira is barely enough to secure decent housing comfortably. Now, let's get to the part everyone wants to hear. Can 500,000 naira start a business in Nigeria? Yes, it can, but here's the catch. It won't guarantee success. Let's break it into realistic options. Small trading business, buying and selling goods like clothes, food items, or electronics. 500,000 naira can stock initial inventory, but profit margins are shrinking, competition is intense, market demand is unpredictable. What about food business? Street food, small restaurants, or delivery? Costs include equipment, ingredients, rent, and logistics. 500,000 naira might start it, but sustaining it is the challenge. What about POS, point of sale business? It is still popular across Nigeria. It requires POS machine, initial cash flows, and a very good location. This is one of the realistic options. Online business such as dropshipping, digital services, content creation, low startup costs but require skills and patience. Here is the brutal truth: 500,000 naira can start a business but not a comfortable one. You will likely cut corners, operate at small scale, face slow growth, and many businesses fail not because they are bad but because capital runs out too quickly. Now let's talk about investing. Can 500,000 naira grow into something bigger? Yes, but expectations matters. Options include stocks, crypto, agriculture, fixed income investments, small partnerships. But here is the reality: 500,000 naira is not a magic multiplier. If you invest wisely, you might get 10 to 30% returns annually, realistically. That means 50,000 naira to 150,000 naira profits in a year. This is not life changing. And if you chase fast money, you risk scams, you risk total loss. The brutal truth here is investment is a long game and 500,000 naira is just a starting point, not a finish line. So, what 500,000 naira cannot do anymore? Let's be very clear: 500,000 naira can no longer secure luxury living, guarantee business success, provide long-term financial stability, solve major life problems instantly. That era is gone, and pretending otherwise leads to bad decisions. Now, let's flip it. Despite everything, 500,000 naira still has value if used wisely. It can act as a seed capital for a small hustle, cover short-term survival while planning next steps, fund skill acquisition which may yield higher returns, serve as emergency backup. The key difference is mindset. Instead of seeing it as big money, you start seeing it as a tool. And here is where many people go wrong. They treat 500,000 naira like it is still 2015 money. They overspend on lifestyle, invest without knowledge, start businesses without planning, ignore inflation realities, and within months, the money disappears. No backup, no growth, no progress. If you had 500,000 naira today, what's the smartest approach? Here is a practical framework. Number one, you divide the money into survival fund, business or investment, skill development. Number two, avoid all or nothing decisions. Don't put everything into one risky idea. Number three, focus on cash flow. Choose things that bring steady income, not just potential profits. Number four, think long term. The goal is not just to spend 500,000 naira. The goal is to grow beyond it. Here's the uncomfortable truth: 500,000 naira didn't become useless. The economy changed faster than people adapted. If you still think in old terms, you will struggle. If you adapt, plan, and think strategically, you can still win. But it requires discipline, awareness, and patience. So, what can 500,000 naira really do in Nigeria? It can keep you afloat for a short term, start small business, and give you a chance. But it won't change your life overnight, protect you from poor decisions, and guarantee you success. The major difference is not just the money, it's how you use it. If you find this breakdown helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you had 500,000 naira today, what will you do with it? Drop your thoughts in the comments.